Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, appreciate you being here today. Welcome back. We have a brand new year. We talked about resolutions last year. Call us part two from that because it all ties in together. Today, we're going to talk about habits, and habits are everything. We're all wired to rinse and repeat. I just do the same thing over and over again. And sometimes that might not be the best thing because we created habits that aren't really helping in our progress or our goals. And she can help us all with that. She is a fantastic person and dealing in many different modalities to reprogram your mind, if you will. Dr. Cecilia Cervantes is here from My Quantum. I'm drawing a blank. What is your website?
Heal. MyQuantumHeal.com.
Heal is the word. Yeah, there you go. You know what it is? That has been ingrained in my head like a habit that I don't even have to think about. So what did I do? I overthought it and I forgot the word heal. Well, anyway, welcome. How you doing, Cecilia?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is the next big step that we want to take because we talked about goals last week, and goals are outcomes, but habits are the action that we need to take to get to our goals. So this is the next logical step, as you said.
When it comes to habits, I guess we should look at it two different ways: breaking the habit to create a healthier you or outcome, or creating those habits. Where do you want to start with that?
Well, let's talk about what habits actually are.
Sure.
Habits are automatic behavior. You know, we have habits for everything we do. In NLP, we call habits strategies, and we have strategies, we have habits for everything, from getting up in the morning, to brushing our teeth, to, we do it automatically. We don't really think about it. We just get up and then we go and we do. With everything that we do, we have a strategy and a habit for most things that we do in life. We don't really think about it, but it's there, for driving, for, getting to work, for doing a certain job. It becomes automatic. You just do it. And so over time, researchers have looked at this. What is it that creates a habit? Let's break it down. And they studied it and they realized that, there is a science or a neurology to the habit. You have a cue that causes you to do a routine and gets you a certain reward, a sense of satisfaction or whatever. And if you do those routines enough, eventually you do it automatically without thinking. And so you don't have to think about it, you just do it. And that's what you want with your good habits. But that's also what happens with your bad habits. And so in order to change your bad habits, you have to figure out, well, what do I need to do to get rid of that bad habit? You have to change the routine. You can have the same cue, you can have the same reward, but you change the routine. So you disrupt that routine and you change it. So now you can effectively install a new, better habit.
Would you say that all habits, no matter what, have that reward at the end, no matter what it is?
Yeah, no matter what it is, because what happens with the cue is that it starts to increase a craving inside of you. You think about something triggers you. You think about that thing, right? And then you crave it and you want to move towards it. And then you move towards it and you do the routine, whatever it is. If it's a bad habit, say drinking or smoking, right? Something triggers you. You may have even a stressor that triggers you, and you think about, oh, I think I'll go have a cigarette, right? And then you crave it and you think about it and you think about it. And then you actually go and do it. And afterwards you like, oh, that was good. Now I'm relaxed, right? You get the reward. So we have to, kind of break down, what is it that's happening? What triggers you? What's going on? And notice what the craving is. Notice what it is that you're wanting from it. Make a list of what is it that it gives you? What's that, craving about? And then what's the reward? What do you get out of it? You want to make a list of all these things so that you can understand what this habit is about.
When we do habits, and the example you gave, brushing your teeth is a habit.
Yes.
The reward, I'm assuming, is you have clean breath. You feel like you did something good for yourself, and you reached a small health goal that morning. Would that be considered your reward in that case?
Yes. And guess what? People didn't used to brush their teeth. And someone developed toothpaste and he made it give you a tingling taste in your mouth. Notice when you brush your teeth, you get that tingling taste in your mouth
Yeah.
and it feels clean. It feels like whatever film was on your teeth is now gone and you get that tingly, clean feeling in your mouth. He realized this is what people, if you can get that feeling in the mouth, you can get people to develop the habit of brushing their teeth. And they started brushing their teeth as a result because now their mouths felt clean. They got that tingly feeling. That was the key to Pepsodent.
So interesting that you say that because I didn't even think of that. I took that for granted because visualize this: you go brush your teeth, and it's some paste that has no smell, no flavor, just nothing. Would you still brush your teeth and as often, or if ever? And would you have that same feeling of reward when you're done? Probably not, because it's that, I said that you have fresh breath. Well, I didn't even put the connection there to the tingly, minty feeling from it, even if you use baking soda toothpaste. So it's a little gritty. So you feel like you're accomplishing something, but it still has that fresh feel to it. If that wasn't there, you probably wouldn't feel like you're rewarding yourself. So, kudos to whoever did that. Because I think we'd be walking around with a lot of bad breath.
And bad teeth.
Yeah.
And people used to have terrible teeth, right? They weren't brushing, they weren't cleaning.
Right, right.
You need the satisfaction, you need the reward at the end.
Mm.
And now, for most people, it's an automatic thing. They don't even think about it. They
Mm.
just do it.
So what's the reward? We wake up first thing in the morning. That's a habit, I guess, right?
Well, it's part of our
Routine.
circadian rhythm also that, our body gets us to get up in the morning to become awake and alert. But, we got to get out of bed, right? So what if you smell that coffee in the kitchen?
Yes.
That's a cue.
Yeah. And look at the reward. My gosh, you feel awake, you love the taste, you look forward to it. It's your moments in the morning to just kind of get your thoughts together, hold that warm cup of coffee. It's rewarding, no doubt.
I love it.
Oh yeah. It's first thing
Uh,
I do. And I drink decaf. And for me, I equate coffee hands down. Again, decaf. So I'm not getting the benefit of the jolt, but it's my reward. When I get coffee, I have that first cup in the morning when I first wake up, but I'll hit a convenience store on the way and I'll pick up coffee because that's my reward for going to work. I'll sit there and I'll have a little sip of coffee and it's just like, all right, I'm giving myself a little something here as I start my day. Hands down, it's a reward. There's not even a doubt about it.
right.
Hmm.
We need the rewards. It motivates us to go towards something.
Right.
So the rewards are good. So we can use this information to develop good habits. Because if you don't get a reward, how likely are you to continue doing that thing that you believe will help you?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of things that we all do uh, that don't have a reward. I can't think of any. I'm scanning my brain what it might be. Even just going to the gym, you get a reward from that. You get a release of chemicals, so you feel good. You have the thought that you're taking care of yourself. Give yourself a little bit of self-care time. That's all reward based.
Right. You get those endorphins going and those feel good chemicals in your body, and that keeps you coming back.
Is a routine the same thing as a habit?
A routine leads to a habit. Because
Okay.
a routine is intentional and you're thinking about it and you are rehearsing and doing it. Once it becomes automatic, it's a habit.
Okay.
So a routine will lead to a habit. A routine takes a little bit of work. And that's how you want to start doing good habits or getting to the point where you develop a good habit is by intentionally doing a routine again and again and again. And that's why they say, commit to doing it for 30 days or more, at least 30 days, because you get into that routine again and again, and your body gets used to it. At some point, the goal is for that habit to become, for that routine to become automatic. And at that point, it is a habit.
How do we, Cecilia, break bad habits? And I know some are way harder than others, such as smoking habit, right? Um, some of the easier ones, whatever they may be. Maybe it's just personal stuff that you do. It's like I shouldn't be doing that. How do you break that habit?
You've got to change, somehow you have to change the routine part that you're doing so that you may get a cue and a craving to
Hmm.
do a certain thing, like maybe bite your nails. So instead of getting to the point where you're biting your nails, maybe put some cream on your hands and massage it, right? You've got to change the routine so that you will also end up with the same reward somehow.
Okay,
You
interesting.
want the reward. The reward's the important part. You have to realize, what is the craving, and then take that routine and change it up a little. Disrupt the routine and come out with the same reward.
Interesting. I'm not a smoker, never have been, and I try to think of somebody who is, what the routine would be. Let's say you're at work and it's 2 p.m. You can take a smoke break. Maybe the starting point, and again, I know there's addiction and craving involved in that, but maybe the start point is do something else at 2 p.m., the very beginning of this. And then, but again, it has to be something that has a reward. Maybe get a cup of coffee at that time. I don't know.
Instead of the cigarette, have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Talk to someone.
Right.
Get that social connection that maybe you were getting before with the cigarette,
Right.
but without having the cigarette. And or you're talking to someone about, some of your stressors, and it's helping to relieve that stress. There's a reward there. So you've got to disrupt that routine. This is what they found with AA. They looked at AA and they said, well, this isn't very scientific that people are not drinking. Why does it work so well? Because millions of people have stopped drinking simply by going to AA. And what happens when they go to their meetings? Well, you get this cue. I'm gonna start drinking. I'm gonna drink today. I need a meeting, right? People will say, I need a meeting. I need to go to the meeting. So instead of having a drink, they go to the meeting and they have the support of the group. They get to unload, tell their story, release some of that stress, and they get the support of the group that's there for them. There's the reward right there. You've got that support. So it's important to have the support in order to break some of these bad habits as well. You don't want to be around people who are going to sabotage you,
Oh, yes.
right? You're not going to, you don't want to have a drink. You're not going to go to the bar. You go to a meeting. This is why AA works.
And it's still a social thing. Most people, if you go to a bar, they could be strangers, they could be regulars, it could be, hey, let's go hit it up. Let's go, Friday night. Let's go there, and then you're going to drink. You're meeting with other people. In your example, Cecilia, you're meeting with other people, but you're doing it in a different way. You still have that social connection. Uh, People that spend so much time on social media, the reward is, I'm assuming, you're plugged into what's going on. You're You're examining everybody's dirt and either, looking at it in a positive way or a negative way, like, look what happened to them, or in an envious way. Um, I'm thinking that's the reward. How do we change that? I mean, a lot of us are afraid to admit that we troll for hours, on Facebook and Instagram, but I guess find something else to do that gives you a reward.
Exactly. Find something else to do. Actually go out and meet with people, something that's real. Your reward will be greater.
Yeah.
Talk with someone. Maybe pick up the phone and call someone and talk to them about how's your life? And here's what's going on in my life.
Hmm. Is there science or research connected to how long it takes to adopt a new habit? Like you said, 30 days before, maybe that's the starting point for that. I've often heard that time is longer to create that habit, to really ingrain it in your brain.
30 days is a good start, you know.
Sure.
It's not a big number, and people are willing to do 30 days. For some people, 30 days will be enough to start a new habit. For others, they may need to work at it more. So that routine is not a habit just yet at 30 days, but they need to be intentional. They need to want to do it as well, right? Not because your wife wants you to do it or someone else
Yeah.
wants you to do it. You need to want to do it. And you also need to believe you can do it. So the belief part of it is also very important.
Very true. Even if you want to do any kind of modality like hypnotherapy, NLP, whatever it is to stop smoking, change, your eating habits, you have to want it. It can't be, your spouse saying you need to do it. I'm sure, somebody like you, Cecilia, you probably have gotten calls or emails from spouses that say, "Hey, can you help them? I'm going to send them in." It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. It's not what they're wanting, and even if, someone says, I'll pay for them to do it,
Right.
that's not going to work because they have no skin in the game. They have no interests. So how is that going to work? You
Yeah.
can't force someone to want something. They have to want it. They have to want to do it. And they have to also believe they can do it.
There you go. That's an important one. The belief in it
Yes.
and the visualization of, well, let's say it's somebody who's smoking, what that's going to be like when I'm not smoking anymore. Even just closing your eyes and just thinking, what am I going to do with that money that I'm not spending on cigarettes? What am I going to, how fantastic is I'm not going to be winded walking upstairs anymore? Feeling that those changes take place within you. What I'm getting from you, the intentional aspect of it with habits, and even in the last couple of days, just talking to other people, the detail of it. You can't just think it and say, "Yeah, I'm going to just change this habit." You really have to document it and almost create an action plan for yourself or a blueprint of how you're going to do it. That's just me. What do you think?
That always helps a great deal. It makes it more intentional, and now you're committing to yourself by putting it on paper and spending time doing these things. That's how you're going to create a new habit. You've got to create that routine, and you've got to find where the rewards are.
Right.
What's it going to do for you? And do you believe you can do it? And if not, why not? Maybe you need to go down a different road to find out. Is there a belief that I'm unconscious of? Is there something else going on there that I need to address and deal with so that I can get beyond this?
You offer a lot of help to people in different modalities. We mentioned a few of them a little while ago, but let's say somebody has a habit that they're not happy with. They want to make some changes in their life. Can you go through, and we haven't talked about it in a while, some of those different things that you offer to make that change?
Well, I do a very detailed personal history, and I get people to kind of unload, just talk out everything. And I watch what they say. I write down every word they say because it's in their words. They're going to tell me what they believe with the words that they use. And I can figure out, is there a limiting belief that's keeping them from getting to where they want to go? Is there a negative emotion that keeps cropping up? And I want to find out what is the root cause of that. So we have procedures to get to the root cause that we use in NLP, and we use timeline therapy, we use hypnosis, we use a variety of different procedures, and we get to the nitty gritty. What is really going on here? What is beneath the surface? Because they'll present with a surface problem that has a root deep down, and that is the root cause, and we need to get through to that. They are probably unconscious about that issue, and we bring it up to consciousness, because then we can deal with it. They'll learn from it, and they'll figure out, they'll get that aha moment, and then they can move beyond. And then we support it with other things, with keeping them intentional, developing goals, making action plans, doing hypnosis to support it as well. All these techniques will help.
You mentioned timeline therapy. We haven't talked about that. If we did, it was very brief. Can you tell everybody what that is?
So I think we've talked about it very briefly. Timeline therapy was developed by Tad James, and it is actually going into your timeline, your timeline from, going way back to when you were born, all the way into the present, and you can even go into your timeline into the future and insert goals into your future. So we do timeline therapy to figure out what the root cause is. We take you back in time doing this procedure, which requires kind of like a light hypnosis, light relaxation. And we find the cause. We find the root cause. We get the learnings, and we're able to move from it. But, the procedure is a little more involved than that, but that's essentially what we're doing. We're getting the root cause, we're unearthing it, we're bringing it up to consciousness. So what we're doing is we're doing a conscious-unconscious integration. There's lots of things that we keep in our subconscious mind or unconscious mind, keep it deep down, kind of protected until we're ready to deal with it. So now we bring it up into consciousness, and we deal with it, get the learnings, and move on. They're able to move on at that point, because they know, oh, that was the purpose of what, that thing that occurred to me. And now that I've learned from it, I can now move on.
The aha moment.
The aha moment.
When it clicks. So what's the difference, Cecilia, between timeline therapy and hypnotherapy? I know you said there's a little bit of hypnotherapy in there. Would you say that timeline therapy is hypnotherapy on steroids in some regard?
Timeline therapy is you're in a light state of hypnosis because you are answering questions, you're talking back. In hypnosis, there are different levels of hypnosis, and you can go into very deep hypnosis, and you might not be able to respond to questions. But in hypnosis, we are getting you into a very relaxed state, and you're also very suggestible in that state. And then we're installing your desires, what you want to change, how you want to change it. We're installing things in you, and you won't change anything if it goes against your beliefs. So you're not going to do anything that, we're not going to make you do things that you wouldn't naturally do on your own. You can't force people to do things that goes against their grain, their beliefs.
Yeah, super important that we say that, because so many people have a block even from hypnotherapy, thinking that, oh, it's mind control. Somebody's going to take over my mind and make me, give up my credit card numbers, my social security number. If you don't want to give those up, you're not giving those up. And I'm only bringing that up because you said different levels of hypnotherapy. Don't want somebody, I did it. I love it. Take me back anytime. I'm happy to go. It's because you learn so much about your mind, your childhood, traumas, all of that. It's amazing. I can't even imagine how great timeline therapy must be in terms of figuring out things that's blocking you from doing what you really want to as well.
Right, and we do, we have specific procedures that we follow There's certain timeline therapy techniques that we can use for people who've had traumas, and there's others that we wouldn't use for people who have traumas. We're not trying to get you to put you back in that same place when you were traumatized. We don't want you to relive it. So we don't get you to relive it,
Right.
We get you to observe and then learn from it. So we have to do the right procedure for the right,
Sure.
purpose, for the right thing that we're doing. And so that's why you want someone who's truly trained in timeline therapy, and not someone who, makes up their own technique and calls it timeline therapy.
Gotcha.
That has happened.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yes.
Maybe it's somebody who is a hypnotherapist or somebody that just got certified and then figures, all right, you know what? Within my practice, let me open this up a little bit more and offer, my version of it. You want the genuine goods, and that's what you offer at myquantumheal.com. Cecilia, we're just about out of time. Just great talk today. And I'll be honest with you, before we even got into it, I'm like, how are we going to do 30 minutes talking about habits? We could keep going.
We could keep going. There's a lot more.
I know.
There's a lot more.
Yeah. So maybe we'll circle back at some point. I will say this, though. After what we just talked about a little while ago in habits, I just had lunch. I'm going to go brush my teeth again.
Get that tingly feeling in your mouth.
Yes. Good habit. Thanks again for being with us. And I look forward next time we get a chance to talk.
Great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cecilia. myquantumheal.com.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.